So we thought we'd start with the few movie reviews we have this week. So Barbarian released in the UK. Obviously, when did that come out for you guys? It was like a month or two ago.
While ago, yeah.
Yeah. Like obviously we got it late as usual, so I got to watch it, and obviously I told Cam and Tyler to watch it as well. I want to put it on some of the really non-horror guys. So I think the one who least watches horror in here is Tyler. What were your thoughts on this crazy film?
All right, well, I'm going to enlighten you on how someone who's just getting their toe into the water of horror watches this horror movie. So it's me alone in my house. It's late at night. Go into my bedroom, take out my laptop. Lights on. All lights on in the room for sure. Laptop, no using the AirPods. I always listen with my AirPods. We need speakers. I can't have it right in my ears. I need speakers. Have it about 50% volume. Laptop screen at about 50% brightness. Not sitting directly on the lap, more so like on the knees. So we got a distance audially and visually from the horror going on the screen. So we got.
Could you even see the scenes in the tunnel if you had 50% brightness?
So those I actually turned up the brightness all the way. And to be fair, like even at like full brightness on like my pretty good laptop screen, those are still like dark ass scenes.
Yeah,
like,
I don't even need to be in the dark.
Yeah,
that's what sucks about horror. I hate it. I hate it.
I really enjoyed it. Like it's definitely like because Cam was watching it and he was saying like he wasn't gonna be able to finish it one night. And there's a very obvious point in this movie where I feel like if you like had to break it up into 2 days, there's like a very clear incident that happens. You're like, this should be when you pause and watch the rest because it pretty much just completely changes tone of a movie halfway through. The first beginning is very suspenseful, trying to figure out what's going on, very dark and mysterious. Right. And then the second half is just I don't know. I don't know enough about horror to say it's just a classic, like, outlandish horror comedy, but it's just, like, goes bananas. It's hilarious. There's so many scenes I was laughing out loud. The water tower scene was through me.
Oh, man. So funny. Like,
Are we doing spoilers and non-spoilers?
I feel like this movie's been out for long enough. I don't know.
I think we just do spoilers.
It's not marketed as a horror comedy, though. Like, I think it's...
I don't even think it is a horror comedy.
I wouldn't call it a horror comedy.
It's just there are things that make you laugh.
Yeah. Justin Long's delivery of a lot of lines is hysterical.
The tape measure scene with the stairs.
That's hilarious. And when he finds the laptop and he just types in one super long password once and it doesn't work, it's like, well, guess that laptop's not going to get cracked anytime soon.
But then you say it's not meant to be a horror comedy, like the water tower scene where they jump, the jump, like that had some comedy elements in that. That was so fun. Like when I was in the cinema watching it, I cannot it was packed because it was Halloween night. Obviously, it was fully busy. Every single person was laughing. Like that scene where she's just going down, and it's the fact Justin Long just threw up. It blindsided because you think he's gonna go on this path. If you haven't watched it, he's basically not a nice human, or from what we know,
fucking rapist.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh,
and
bad.
You think he's gonna go on this kind of like repent because he goes into that speech about how he's a nasty person, whatever. And at the end, like you think he's gonna do something really nice and save her, and he just chucks her off. It's like it completely blindsided me. Like, everyone was laughing. Like,
I was absolutely crying at the scene where Justin Long is in like the cage and the woman is trying to feed him the milk, and he's just the girl's like drink it, and he's like I'm not gonna drink this. Are you kidding?
Yeah, why would you, dude? It's such a why would you not? You know, you're fucking in a cage, man. Just drink the fucking milk. Yeah, dude.
Justin Long was the king of gaslighting that whole movie though. From both with his legal troubles he was dealing with, trying to gaslight the girl on the voicemail, and at the very end, like after yeeting this girl off the water tower, he just goes down to her dying body. He's like, I had to do this. Like literally, there's no other choice.
Dude, but that's the thing though.
You mentioned it, and I just want to like by far the funniest part of this movie is when he's obviously like in a whole lot of shit because he's a horrible human. So he's trying to sell this home, and he's like, can you use basement square footage to sell a house? And this dude's discovered a fucking tunnel in his basement, and he doesn't care about anything. Runs upstairs, Googles it, grabs his tape measure. Even when he's discovered this like old ruins of tunnel, he's measuring
with a bed and like blood on the bed and everything.
Yeah,
it's just such a great juxtaposition because when the Skarsgård and the woman go down there early, it's like every extra corridor you see is like more terrifying. Like, oh my god, what else is down here? Whereas Justin Long, every extra corridor and hallway is like fuck yeah, that's more square footage, baby.
Yeah.
Let's keep this going.
Seth, just run through this movie, like, because it's just like it's a weird, transition from. Yeah, just give a general overview of like what this movie is if people haven't seen it and they want to listen to this for some reason.
Yeah. What was the woman's name? It was Tess, played by Georgina Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
So she is in a town in Detroit, I think it was, for a job interview. She books out this Airbnb, gets there, and Bill Skarsgård is there. His character Keith, who basically they booked it at the same time. She basically decides to stay there because there's nowhere else to go. And then after that, I had the inkling that Keith was going to be. It was very stereotypical horror for the
Even
first,
up. Yes, and keep going because I just want to say
it was very stereotypical. I was like thinking, okay, the usual kind of tropes were happening.
Mm-hmm.
A door would be like slightly adjusted. She went to sleep in the bed at one moment, and then she woke up middle of the night, and the door was open, and Keith was being a bit weird and like kept offering her things and stuff like that. And you thought, okay, here we go, he's the bad guy. And then she basically goes to job interview, comes back. People are telling her about it. There was like a homeless man who chased after her and was trying to tell her about
she
herself.
Thinks it's a bad person because she's in a
bad
shitty
neighborhood
area of Detroit. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So. She finds this kind of passageway in the house which leads to this basement. Goes through the basement, finds a room which is got a bed and then some blood on it, and then she finds it goes further. She gets scared. Keith comes home, and this is where it switched for me from the stereotypical horror to just absolutely ridiculous. So Keith decides to go down, right?
Idiot.
It was all the bad decisions you get in horror films.
Yeah.
Keith decides to go down, and she's calling him like, Keith, where are you? What are you doing? He doesn't answer. Okay, brilliant. Here we go. We think maybe he's the bad guy. Maybe this was all his plan all along. We get down there, and she goes further in, finds Keith, and then he's like, "Say, we need to go. There's a woman." No,
but even up to this point, I'm like, this dude's doing something right because he's like, she comes from one way, he comes from the other, and she's like, we got to go this way to exit, and he's like, no,
he's pulling her the other way.
Exactly, and you're like this dude's
pulling her further in, and then we're like, okay,
and then
out of nowhere, this like 8-foot like naked woman,
inbred.
Yeah, just inbred naked woman just comes and just smashes his head against the wall, and then
demolishes him.
Just completely, like headless. And then the whole like cinema was just like what? And then it just cuts, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. And then we go to Justin Long, who's riding in this he's driving in this open car. Gets a call from he is working on, is it a TV show or a film?
Yeah, his agent.
Gets a call from the agent saying that an accusation is being made from him. He owns the B&B. He meets his accountant. He's going to have to go bankrupt. He's got no money. He needs to pay for the lawyer fees, and then goes to the B&B. And then, as Cam said, he's trying to make more money off it. Goes into the B&B. He also gets captured by this woman, and then are we going into? I think we're going to spoilers, aren't we?
Yeah, we've already given a couple.
And then like it just goes from zero, like 1 minute he's being like breastfed by this room with like TV showing babies and like these loads of beds, and it's just like I can't even. What happened after that scene?
Then she gets out of the house. Tess does.
She gets out of the house, yeah.
And then she finds the police, and because she's in a shit area, she's been trapped in this house for a couple weeks. Yeah, they think she's some sort of crackhead because she looks like shit.
That's nice.
Yeah, and then she goes back to the house because
why not? Because
it's a fucking horror movie.
She goes to find the guy, who she's never met.
No, she's like, we gotta save. For no fucking reason.
I think the thing is, it does it well. And I think, like Tyler said, there is layers to this film in regards to gaslighting, in regards to sort of how we treat people. But it really does go from one film to the next when kind of she goes back in that house for, again, no reason. They manage to escape. Does anything happen in the middle of that I'm forgetting? Other than
no, I think they just get out and...
They get out.
The homeless person turns out that he's like been living there.
Yeah, and the homeless person says she's like, he takes to this water tower, and she says like, how do we know he's not going to get us here? She's not going to get us here. And then it's just such a he's like,
classic. Yeah,
I've been here like 20 years. She's never been here. And then as soon as he says that, she just comes from behind him. He's done. And then basically the film ends. They climb up this water tower to escape.
Got yeeted off the watchtower.
Yeah.
But they're at the top. He's like saying, okay, I know what to do. What does he say? I'm gonna get us out of this or something like that.
Well, he has a gun that he drops, of course.
Oh my god, that was so bad.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, he has a gun.
Also,
also, we should say that and when I say inbred, it's literally an inbred because apparently that
it's not a derogatory term.
Yeah, no, I'm not even being rude. Apparently, a shitty dude way back in the day lived in this house.
Don't we?
Yeah, we see him. I forget who he's played by, but he's been basically he steals women, brings them down there, has kids with them, has kids with those kids, and so on is what this thing is. This thing has been living in the tunnel for, I think they said it, or maybe I looked this up, 40 years or something, whatever.
I think you're right, yeah.
Literally inbred.
It was like, and the weird thing is, George, when I said this to you, you said you didn't think I'd like this. I didn't think I'd like this because
I didn't think you would like it at all.
I've heard
especially after your reaction to Smile. I was like, this movie's the turn this movie's gonna take is just gonna throw Seth off. He might love the first half because it's a little eerie, it's tense, you don't know what's happening. I was like, once that second half hits, Seth might leave the theater.
It was completely the opposite. The first half, I was like, okay. This is just every horror basic, ever. Yeah. This is just, I have seen this trope so many times, whatever. And then Justin Long comes in the scene. I'm like, this is so funny.
I thought the movie changed or something. Time
like that. Yeah, so do you want to give ratings for it? I think I give it a 3.5. George give it 3.5.
Yeah.
Cam and Tyler give it 3. So we all rated it somewhat positively anyway.
I will say just that last point on this. I'm thinking we've been kind of blessed with some incredible marketing this year between the Batman and even Smile and Everything Everywhere All at Once. The marketing this year for films has been crazy, and I want to throw Barbarian on that list because when that trailer came out, they showed absolutely nothing, and it blew up across the internet.
Mm-hmm.
It was absurd. I remember getting so many DMs of people saying, "Bro, you need to watch this trailer," and I was like, "Here's another C-tier horror movie." And then I watched the trailer, I was like, "Oh shit!" I have no idea. I need to see this movie because I need to see what happens. And then it ended up making...
That's risky marketing as well because it could have gone completely the other way.
I think for a horror movie, it could be hit or miss because horror movies. I think the budget on this movie was $4.5 million, and I'm pretty sure it made close to $50 million. So horror,
just come out in the UK as well.
I don't think you can go wrong with, marketing on a horror movie because it costs nothing to make.
Yeah, I mean there was also
we seem to have this conversation every week,
right?
Horrors. I
don't know if you saw I saw a trailer for it on YouTube a lot that was recommended to me. That wasn't even the trailer, but all it said, it was a pre-roll before so many YouTube videos I watched, and it just said, "See Justin Long's new movie in theaters," and all it is just him driving in his convertible. I was like, this bait and switch is hilarious. If someone just is a fan of Dodgeball and accepted, and they're like, Justin Long's back in acting, let's go see Barbarian. This looks like a fun kind of comedy.
Did you see the video of
Justin Long was funny.
Yeah, he was hysterical. Did you see the video of him listing his 4 favorite horror movies? It went around.
Yeah, I saw it and
I
didn't
saw
watch
yesterday.
It was good. It was Hereditary.
What did he say?
Hereditary, Saint Maud, The Exorcist, and Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the 78 version.
Saint Maud was a wild choice, wasn't it, for a top 4?
Yeah, I think he mentioned he just wanted to kind of swing A24 in, and he said that before he did Hereditary. So
yeah, that makes sense.
I want to say I don't want to be lumped into your fucking 5-star rating system. First of all, I gave this movie a 55 out of 100, which then translates to a 3 out of 5.
Tyler,
just
you got 10.
I gave it a 6.1 out of 10, which translates to a 3-star.
Yeah, I don't want to be lumped into this star category, but I will be. Yeah. But
so last thing,
5-star supremacy, my man.
Well, I just want to say, talking about, I feel 55 out of 100 isn't a very high score. That's right borderline a 2.5. And I think these movies just aren't for me. This and Malignant, which is getting compared to a lot. I think this is better than Malignant. As we talk about it, I talk about it like, huh?
Can't believe you just said that.
I agree, Cam. I think it's better than.
I think it's better than Malignant.
Oh, you guys are on drugs.
But that being said, like I said, I just don't know if this kind of movie is for me because one, it's not very scary, and you know I'm scared, and it feels like the stupidness of this just being a very tall old woman who's naked the entire time.
When she goes "Baba" in his face all the time.
Yeah, she's saying like,
"What are we doing?"
Yeah, we should also mention that like she's like I don't even know, she has daughter issues, we'll call it. You know, because she just wants everything that comes down into this well or this stairway to be her kid. But like horror now, just, and this is something George and Seth kind of love, maybe, is like it just feels like it's kind of just trying to make you feel uncomfortable. And maybe I don't know, maybe that's just not for me. Horror in general is not for me, but I feel like this movie's a lot more fun to talk about than it is to watch, because like I'm talking about it pretty positively, like compared to Black Adam, which I talked about very negatively and gave a higher score. Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe this deserves higher, but when I was watching it, I'm like, I didn't care a whole lot, and I don't know. I watched it also like squinted for the first half of the movie because you know I'm a bitch, and I think the idea of horror scares me a lot more than the actual horror.
Well, this is the thing why I enjoyed it more than like Malignant, because it was funny. Like Malignant was ridiculous. Like the end scene, it was well done. I won't lie, but it was, you know, it was depressing. Like it was a pretty sad case of a film. And then with something like Barbarian, it was just so stupid that you have a laugh with it. And I was excited to talk about this with you guys on the podcast because it's just such a conversation piece. Because it's so dumb. Like, it's just so ridiculous at the same time. Anything else anyone want to add to it at all? Or
the last thing I'll say is just, like, there's just so many juxtapositions in this movie, and the one thing is, a lot of this movie is, like, obviously it's far-fetched, but it's, like, feasible. Like, if someone, like, kidnaps women, like, there's nothing that's crazy supernatural. But then, like, the mama's able to, like, rip off arms and, like, rip people's skulls in half. So I was like,
with ease.
What are we going for here? Is this, like, I mean, I know it's, like, a horror, like, and the end just goes off the rails. But, like, I was like, the whole movie leading up to that point, I was like, you know, this is, like, far-fetched. But, like, it could, in theory, happen if someone had, like, a dungeon under their house and was just a terrible person. But then she just starts going Super Saiyan mode. And I was like, okay, whoa.
Who's setting up these Airbnbs? Because when Justin Long gets there, he's like, he calls his Airbnb gal and he's like, hey, is anyone renting? And she says no, but then two people on different websites are renting this at the same time. Is the girl down there just like with a laptop as well? And like, hey, let's.
True, that is weird. They never really did kind of cover that plot point.
I think that's one that's just like, they're like, fuck it, who cares? It's a mission.
She's just got a laptop down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's right next to the video that's playing a woman breastfeeding the entire time.
Just Airbnb.
Airbnb, yeah.